Hi, YouTube. I hope you're doing good. I am doing okay. I could be better. About a half hour ago, I was in a hurry and I was getting something out of a lower drawer and then on a different, on my wardrobe, I lifted up my head and the corner of it, I bet it went in about an inch. Man, that hurt. We're moving trucks around outside, like hooking up chains. And so, anyway, I didn't have an excuse if I was stupid yesterday, but today I have an excuse, so no. But anyway, I don't really have anything too much on my mind, like a set, um, what I'm going to talk about today, a topic or anything. I'm just gonna say hello for a little while here. I've got a ton of things left to do. I did get my exercises done first. Otherwise, I really don't know if I'd even be doing them right now. I kind of have the shakes, and for a while, I was sort of like kind of sick. Thing is, your frontal lobes, that's like your motor skills, mostly on the left for motor skills, and like your compassion and other stuff is on the right side. um so when people have had like their temporal lobes injured, it really could make a difference in your health and your mental health, that type of thing. Like Doug, for instance, has almost like horns. He's had temporal lobe damage. One time, like this one, was like just ripped open. His cousin was a medic from Vietnam and was able to fix him. They were both on a mini bike, like 16 and 18 years old or something like that. And they had an accident, and his cousin wanted to help stitch him up, and Doug wouldn't let him. So, just like don't touch my head type of thing. I'm a lot like that too, but yeah. So anyway, if you've had head injuries, they can affect you, you know. So anyway, yeah. Ouch. Oh, that did hurt. I was surprised. I was almost, good thing it was kind of chilly out. If it was hot out, I might have like stroked out from the pain. You know what I mean? You get hot, you get overheated sometimes with an injury. I mean, it's not super extreme, but it 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 affected me. It got me. Wow, I was gonna say something too, and then I lost it. Oh, well, it'll come back to me, I think, if it was important. So, yeah, but I've done that. I do that. I get in a hurry and, you know, and I slept pretty good too, so I can't use like I was tired as an excuse. I wanted to get it over with. 'Cause I don't like doing that type of thing. So well, I don't know who does, moving vehicles. And so anyway, um, yeah, I was gonna say something, god dang it. Oh, yeah, that's what it was about Vietnam. Most, if anybody says if they're in their 60s and said they were in Vietnam, most likely it's not true. Um, they would have to be late 60s. They would have to be like 68 or 69 because everybody was coming home by then and there weren't any injuries from that war at that time. So if somebody's like 62, or even going to be 66, I'm 65. There's only, well, like my ex is 6 months older than me, and he was in the service. He was not in Vietnam because the war was getting over at that time. So he's 66 and he wasn't in is what I'm saying. So if somebody's like 62, 3, 4, 5, most likely, if they aren't about 67 or 8, even closer to 70 years old, they most likely were not in the Vietnam War or any other war for quite some time after that. So just just for the record, because I heard like some guy was a non-vet, but the first thing I thought of it was his age, and I kind of and maybe it was misunderstood because from my what I understand, this guy can't really talk well, so it could have been even Afghanistan if he's could have been a serviceman in Afghanistan maybe 20 years ago if he's in his 60s. Nah, would have been 40 in the service. Desert Storm, perhaps. Late 20s, early 30s, maybe. It would be Desert Storm then. And then Afghanistan. And yeah. So, anyway. Um, I did kind of come down hard on the uh, shenanigans and nonsense that was being portrayed against our great mother and stuff, but that's the honor of respecting our parents. That's the honor that they talk about. That's written in the scriptures. That's just not for our physical parents because our children belong to God and we honor him first, you know, and to honor our first mother, our great mom. That's why wouldn't we, you know? Why wouldn't we want to know her history as well as his? Yeah, we would. So, cheers, everyone. Jeez, I'm still shaken from that. Wow, another time I was walking out of my room and I walked right into the wall. Now it could be, um, I have a stigmatism in my eye. Well, it's actually a scar from having a piece of metal when I was working on a drill press, um, zap me in my eye. But even before that, when I was a kid, my depth perception, um, and like a sense of vertigo has always been there for me. So, or with me, not for me, at me, against me. But like, okay, here's a for instance. I mean, this could happen to anybody, but maybe not. And you would think, well, how could she even dance or play any sports? I have no clue. I have no clue how I survived all that. But one time I was running up the stairs. I was late for junior high and I whipped open the door, but before I could get through the door, I ran into it and I jabbed the door handle right into my guts. And the year before that, or no, it was that same year, I had an injury to all my ligaments and um my muscles and my ligaments in my stomach. I pulled all my muscles. I had been drinking with my friends and doing acrobatic shit, and it didn't turn out too well for me. So, now, yeah, my perception was really off that day. I had to wear a brace for 6 months. It was supposed to be 18 months, but I just couldn't deal with it anymore. And evidently I was strong enough to carry my my body after that because that's your core, you know. And And then a few years after that, I pulled my spinal cord. So I mean, I've had some things and more where I couldn't walk, things that have happened to me. So the things that your body can recover from. But there's a weird thing today. So when I hurt my head, I was sitting in the truck waiting for Doug to pump a tire on his tractor that he was pulling me with. And the arm that I caught him out of the tree, I broke my shoulder and my arm. That started hurting along with my head. So I don't know. What a mess. But so that told me something in my nervous system. A lot of times, like with acupuncture or pressure, your pressure points in your nervous system will trigger other ones or take the pain away from other ones. But this showed me the same nerves that were in my head on that side were directly connected with nerve endings in my arm. Could have been my leg, could have been anywhere, but I just recognized a connection that was in those two. So I don't know. What a mess. Unbelievable. Huh. Oh, yeah. So, anyway, back to the Mary thing, that people would recognize that woman, the Christ spirit was with woman from the beginning. She isn't waiting for any of that. If women make a decision to be horrible on this planet, they're making a very well informed decision with the Spirit of God that's been with them from the beginning. So, that's for the record right there. We're not waiting for anybody to wake up or hoping that they're going to be somebody that they're not going to be. What you see is what you get. That's a fact. And women know this. It's put there so you can nurture that into your child. A man has to a man has to learn how to love. Women are born with it. If we use the word love, um, and it really is true. There is a difference in men and women. Don't ever let anybody tell you that there isn't, because that tender nature that men are faking, you fake ass motherfuckers. I'm so sick of your shit. They have to learn how to be like that. Just like I had to learn how to be a warrior. I wasn't born with these feelings that I have inside me. They were nurtured, you know, the same as you would nurture tenderness into your little people, you know. So that's just my opinion. It's what's written in the scriptures, but and how much of those are true? Well, if you look at it from three different aspects, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, you have three different ways. If you're looking at it from God's perspective, the woman's perspective, and Satan's perspective, if you read the scriptures in three different aspects, you're really going to get a different story. So if somebody tells you something, if you look at what they say in three different aspects, even if they're lying to you, you're probably going to conclude the truth from thinking a little deeper, and that'll save you. I mean, um, thinking deeper on just not taking what people say on face value and trusting that. you know. So, and I really don't. Everything I hear, everything people say, unless I know better, but I'm always second guessing what is their ulterior motive? What's the reason for this? Are they really invested in other people or is it self-serving, you know? And I'm always questioning that with everybody. And we have to. This isn't a time for playing around with people. And when they show us, if they're nasty people and that's what they're showing us, we have to accept that. We have to deal with it and carry on if you know what I mean, you know? It's kind of like if you when you're a parent and you have like say a certain kid that comes around your house and you know that this child is not going to be a good influence on your child, what would you do? Well, you have to think of yourself like that. Like now you're your own parent and you have to take care of yourself in that way. So I used to be so trusting, and it's just like um, anything and everything anybody said, I would go along with it, and I'd end up getting in trouble sometimes because I was stupid like that, you know? So I'm not saying it was all somebody else's fault. I'm just saying there's a lot of times that I could have made better decisions if I really had chose my friends more wisely, you know? So, just like whatever show I'm going to watch, whatever I'm going to read, the decisions and choices I make to feed my soul. What am I doing it with and why and, you know, that type of thing. I read an article today about, and shared it about endangered species that we have in Minnesota here. Um, I know they have them out west too, but they're like a salamander, um, or like they're aquatic fish with legs called mud puppies, and they're endangered. So I shared it and what people are supposed to do if they catch one of these in our lakes or rivers. They're supposed to get a hold of the DNR, Department of Natural Resources here. So I used to play with them things. The salamanders, not mud puppies. I don't know that I've ever seen one. I don't know. I might have, but they do look just like a salamander. We have different kinds. We have ones that are sort of brown. Then there's ones that are sort of black and they have like yellow spots on them. And they're a salamander, but they're more like a lizard. And if you do grab their tail will fall off at the third section up and it will regrow. So yeah, they're cute. Their faces do look kind of like a puppy. So yeah. Oh, I tracked mud in my house. I was in and out. It has been raining and we had about well, we spent about a few years back, like over 1,000. We've had thousands of dollars worth of fill and rock and everything that we've put in to make our road here, but a lot of what we put in the last stuff was too light and it washed down to the township road, so it's muddy. So anyway, yeah. Today we're trading an old truck for it's not just an old truck, but these guys love these trucks. This style, it's called the Chevy Square Body, older one, but so anyway, we're trading that for a Polaris four-wheeler with a plow on it. So it was pretty nice looking, the four-wheeler thingy, one of them, what do you call them? It's a ATV, all-terrain vehicle. So yeah, I'm still a little loopy. So back to the Mary thing. Um, being that I see Robin Hood did address the Mary Christ Mass. Now, to me, that's Mary, Christ, and the Masses of Satan. If you take, and there's your three aspects of the Father and the Son and the Divine Feminine. And that if you look at the scriptures and you read them from three different aspects, that's exactly what's going on in those books, even with the changes. So if you look at something and you think, well, that seems a bit evil, well, that's not God. That's not the divine female. That only leaves one other source for that information, and that's where that comes from. That's my outlook on the whole thing. So, because God doesn't kill, he's the God of life, you know. And no, moms don't kill their offsprings. So that just leaves one other entity. And I still believe it's like the Christ spirit um, being tortured within the man and the woman out of jealousy. Expended. Okay, it's the energy of God that went awry from expending. Okay, here, let me explain it like this. A lot of times I've explained it like when you're pregnant and you give that energy, you're depleted. And sometimes women will go into like a post mortem depression. So they'll get like depressed and really sick after they've given birth. That's how I feel like the energy that God expelled, like he didn't even know he got whacked or she didn't, and that energy was put out into the ether, into people. And we're trying to build that back up, but we have to have the understanding, what are we dealing with and how did it come about. It's like if you work hard and you're working, and say you worked up a sweat and then somebody came along and like maybe your sacroiliac in your back, your lower back, maybe it's hurting, and somebody might come up and poke you in the back while you're working. um you might flip around like, what you know, but, and you may not even realize that you just lost it because of the extreme amount of pain that you're in. That's my explanation for the evil on this planet, is energy that was expelled for people to gather and help build Humpty Dumpty back up with the Christ Spirit that knows all that from God. Like God is sleeping. Yeah, he worked hard. And now we have to take that energy and repair the world with it. Because people often, like, how could evil come about? Well, if you think about it, like I just explained it to you, or just say, it'd be like if you smashed your hand and then somebody expected you to pick something up for them. How would you be able to do that? Your hand's smashed, you know? I hope you kind of get what I'm trying to say. So, um, but once the evil and the people that took that evil on with that energy started perpetuating it for bad stuff, it became a habit that they couldn't get out of by themselves. And that's why the Spirit of God had to come into mankind um, to help them. And see, the Spirit, it's just like the Spirit of Satan entered Peter. It entered him. It's not something that was there. These spirits aren't necessarily there, but like the Christ Spirit was in woman from the beginning, and of course God had that, but I don't believe that he does at this time. I think that's in the masses, in the people around the world. I don't know. I'm out of my mind today. So anyway, yeah. I was really worried. I have this outdoor cat Yeti that loves me, and that some other little ones, they were, when I went to get in the truck to be pulled with it, he ran under the truck, and I was just like thinking, I hope he doesn't get squished, because he's he wasn't that stupid, but I was thinking he might have been. I sometimes when it might have been the head injury, but I'm thinking sometimes when things go kind of bad, start going sideways, sometimes they don't straighten out, so yeah. But he didn't get squished. That would really freak me out if something like that happened. I had a baby deer that I raised. Her ears got cut off in the combine, and so for all you vegans, uh, her mother left her and was gonna just let her die, because that's what happens out in the wild when they're farming for your vegetables. Animals die. So just for the record, thousands of them in, say, like a 10,000-acre area, hundreds of animals, if not thousands, will die before your vegetables. So just know that. But anyway, so I had this baby named Muffin, and I put her in the chicken coop. I had this Manx kitty. It was a little white one with long hair, and that means like the back legs were really high, and it looked like a race car, big wheels in the back and little in the front, big and little. So, um, uh, they were best friends. Even my Irish setter, I had my Irish setter, my baby deer, and my Manx cat. They'd all just run and play together. Well, anyway, so the kitty and my deer were in my chicken coop. I'd put them at night after she got older. I could, she was closed in, so no wolves or anything were going to get her. And I also was herding sheep and dealing with cattle and horses and all kinds of things on this ranch at that time. but I went to let my baby out in the morning, and she had rolled over on her kitten, and it was flat. That just that freaked me out so bad. I got her out of there, and I didn't let her see what happened, and then I took the straw that I had down there when I buried the kitten, and I got all that out of there so Muffin wouldn't be able to smell it. And oh, but she did miss it. There was other kitties around, but not like that one. That was her favorite one. You know, that was a bummer. Well, I'm gonna get this uploaded. I'm gonna try and gather my wits about me here. I tracked in mud, and I've got dishes and laundry and all sorts of things that I should do and need to do and have to do today. So off and on, I'm gonna take my time after a while here, not right away. But thank you for joining me. I hope some of what I said made some kind of connection for you, and um, I love y'all. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.